Tubius. Looks like we're free. Works it. Yes, I think we got it. I think we got it. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? I may have had to change my microphone. I hope you can hear me now, ladies and gentlemen. If you could just let me know if I can be heard. And let me see if my video is, we're good to go on the UBS here. Full camera. All right. Let me see this for a second. 1 second, bang, and we go back to USB live, and we're good to go. Okay. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? I should be able to be heard now. I should be able to be heard now. So if you guys can let me know in the comments, if you guys can let me know if I could be heard in the comments here, Steve's Tees, if you can help me out with that, greatly appreciated. Um, and we should be ready to go. We should be. I'm up. I'm up and running. I'm hearing my microphone now. So if you can give me a shout and let me know if all is well, it should be okay. I think I should be okay. I just had to change the microphone sequence for a second there. And hello, Steve Steves, where are you? Lana BK, where are you? Are we going here? Oh my gosh. All right. Give me 1 second, guys. 1 second, 1 second, 1 second. Let me just make a text here for a second. Give me 1 second. All right. Still running on YouTube here, people. So give me 1 second as I work out the kinks here. All right. There we go. Let's see if that works out. Let me see if that works out. Okay. I'm gonna go back on live here on IG. And we're good to go. Okay. Can you hear me out there? Can you hear me out there? Can you hear me out there? Okay. Okay. So we're gonna go with it. We're gonna go with it. I'm just waiting to hear back from my people. We are back in live here on IG, and we are still live on YouTube. So I am just wondering if all is well. It looks like everything is okay. Do let me know. Yep, we can hear you. Thank goodness. Okay. All right. So yes, we can hear you. Excellent. So we are back. We are live. Thank you very much for joining me here in Talk Live again. Um, Watching the NBA playoffs play out. Close game between Minnesota and Denver in the background. My Arsenal won today, so that's great. But let us not waste any more time, people, because we are dealing with a serious subject, and that is with regards to Ashlee Jenae. Ashlee Jenae, the IG model who recently passed away, and through nefarious means. And again, we're just here to get through the nonsense, to get through the crap, and really talk about the story, because a lot of things came out from this, a lot of things that were inflicted by Ashlee Jenae herself, and a lot of things that were inflicted by different areas of the community. And so we're going to get into this right now here on Talk Live on IG and YouTube. Like, subscribe, comment on the road to 1,000 subscribers. We're not going to waste any more time. My audio is back. And so we are back here starting with an update. We need an update from Trent Out Loud. And so this just came in today. Ashlee Jenae is back in the U.S. Yes, indeed. There, just to give you a bit of background, Ashlee Jenae was in um, in Africa, and she recently got back. They did their autopsy, they did their studies, their findings, and now she's back in the U.S., where you would think there would be formal autopsy done in the U.S. with regards to her body and really found out cause of death. Yet we do not hear from her former fiance Joe McCann. So let's get into this here with Ashlee Jenae. Let me just get myself hooked on and hooked in here as we do. And let's get into this here on Talk Live. We're going to make this short. We're going to make this sweet. We're going to get rid of the bowl and get into the poll. So let's gather around, people. Thank you very much for joining me here on Talk Live.
Embassy ultimately do to help Ashlee Jenae and her family? What can the U.S. do now that Ashlee's body is back in the United States of America? We have an update on Zanzibar's investigation. A lot of you have asked, did they close the case? Have they changed their initial ruling that Ashlee unalived herself? We're also going to touch on the hotel evidence, Joe's passport, what the heck is going on with the surveillance footage? And lastly, what are Ashlee's parents going to do next? We got a whole lot to cover. Sit back, relax. I'll tell you everything that you need to know, and then I'll hand it off to you, the out louders, to let me know what you think in the comment section below. I knew her body was back, but my source, the reporter, told me in block letters, do not say that her body is back in the United States of America. That was the direction that I have been given. Now, I have right here Savannah Britt, who is one of Ashlee's friends and who's been doing a great job of posting updates. She made this announcement. Now, she didn't make it on her own. She retweeted her father, Harry Robinson, saying Ashlee's body is back home in the States. Now, from what I have gathered over the past 24 hours, speaking back with this reporter, it was a little bit of a misstep. There's a little bit of miscommunication. Perhaps the mom and some people on the team did not want the announcement to come out, but the father, Harry, wanted to put that out. That is what I am hearing. I am always going to be on the side of respecting the family and, of course, respecting my sources when they give me information. If you're wondering why I didn't tell you guys in that video, I was given direction not to say. Seeing that Savannah has put this out, she tweeted this and she said, Ashlee's body has been returned to the United States. Please keep her family in your hearts and prayers as they await the results of the autopsy and the investigation continues. If Savannah and her daddy could say it, I am going to say it.
So there it goes, ladies and gentlemen. It seems that Ashlee's body is back in the States officially, now that her father and her best friend Savannah Britt have both said that that she has been returned to the U.S. So official autopsy proceedings will begin here. Well, not here, but in Philadelphia. That's where she's from, where her family is from, and so we await to hear that autopsy. So this thing is not going away anytime soon. Again, Joe McCann, her ex-fiance, or should I say fiance in life, he may have a lot to answer for, allegedly. So we're gonna let the autopsy decide and let the courts decide that. So this is something that is going to be long in running, ladies and gentlemen. But it's a tragedy that she was brought back here brought back to the United States, back to Philadelphia. But it is what it is. But again, proceedings in Africa have been completed, and now we await their findings.
Ashlee's body is back home in the U.S. With that out the way, let's move on to the autopsy and the toxicology report. Zanzibar officials are done with their reporting and the samples that they have collected. That is why Ashlee's body was able to be released. But with that comes a whole bunch of other questions. Now, the U.S. Embassy was, of course, over there, from what we've heard, to oversee the autopsy and investigation. The difference of overseeing versus actually doing it is not that they're actually in the room during the autopsy and toxicology. The US Embassy is just there to kind of relay information back to the family in a more official way instead of being on the phone with a grieving family member or friend. So that was the US Embassy's role. I'm sure a lot of you, even myself, was thinking, oh, maybe they could be in the room, they could do whatever. No, I've been told and been given 100% concrete information that the US Embassy's people are not directly in the room. And that again opens up more questions, but let me get to that.
So again, it seems that the U.S. Embassy is there just to give the family any news with regards to the autopsy itself. They're not involved in the investigation. Again, that investigation will happen. The U.S. Part of that investigation will happen within the U.S. So all they're there to do is to make sure that word gets back to Ashlee's family. Let's continue.
I'll get to that in a minute. The fact that Ashlee's body is back in the US now, a lot of people have says, well, what does that mean? Can the US conduct their own autopsy and their own toxicology and start their own investigation? And the answer is yes. Zanzibar has their samples, has done their stuff, and you can continue to do autopsies. And even after the US, her parents can do an independent autopsy and toxicology. But there are still things that go along with that, and I have them here. First thing is, even if the US or an independent autopsy is done, and they, for example, find different findings, let's just say, findings that she didn't self-unalive herself, findings of other things that the US does not agree with over in Zanzibar, the US can't necessarily make Zanzibar change or apply charges to Joe, the workers, or anybody who they might believe after their autopsy and toxicology. They're two different countries, but the US can apply pressure. What does pressure mean? It literally just means who in Congress can Ashlee, her friends, or celebrities, because you know there's some celebrities involved here. Joe Budden has been involved, academics, not necessarily celebrity, but media, and Cardi B. I've given the example before of Savannah Guthrie and Nancy Guthrie. You have the attention of the United States of America, the president of the United States of America. He can now say, all right, Kash Patel, FBI, et cetera, put pressure. We want to find where Nancy is. If you have that kind of level of pressure over in Zanzibar, you could be for sure that the US can change. But if you have just a congressman or woman that somebody doesn't know, calling them up and saying, hey, we found something a little bit different, it might be like, well, who the heck are you? So that is where Ashlee's entertainment connections, celebrity friends, and or international pressure can come in once the US does an autopsy or toxicology. We don't even know if they are. I'm just giving you the what could happen if they do, and I'm praying that they do. Okay.
So again, Trent Out Loud is literally is asking for the public's help, especially the celebrity public, such as Joe Budden, such as Cardi B, such as uh, uh, many others, actually DG academics, there he is, to put pressure on the American governments to have a full autopsy done on Ashlee's body, because public pressure will lead that public to get the government involved, and that government can therefore have a full investigation slash full autopsy on on Ashlee's body again. My condolences to her and her family, and we hope that that is indeed the case, because we want to get to the bottom of this, because this is still very much a mystery, and something that has yet to be fully investigated. Let's continue.
Here's the second thing that worries me. The fact now that we know that the US Embassy was not directly in the room, and even if they were, they weren't there the whole time. Could her body have been tampered with? Yes, 110%. We do know that there was some sort of level of corruption that has been going on. when we first heard about this, it was the case was zipped up in 24 hours. Up, she unalived herself. Done. Nothing. We're not. They didn't even question Joe. They didn't even question people. They just was a self unaliving and done. So we know that there is some sort of level of corruption, and we know through various amount of videos that we've spoken about, people over there that have been born there, live there, say that there is a ton of corruption and it's super easy. And it's easier for somebody who's white and worth 45, $50 million. So I don't trust that her body has not been tampered with, my personal opinion.
Okay, so there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, this is what a lot of people were afraid of with regards to Ashley Janae's body, and that was that it could be subject to corruption, especially when it comes to the autopsy itself. So Joe McCann, it is alleged if he has 45 million, it is alleged it was alleged that he was broke, as we will find out later on in the show. But his influence, being her fiance at the time, could have swayed things to have this thing wrapped up quickly. Get an answer with regards to her body, saying that it was she underlies herself, that she committed some sort of um, self harm, and with that she succumbed to her injuries. So um, it's unclear if that is an objective view to things or a subjective view, because in these parts of the world, unfortunately, in the developing world, one can be influenced by money. And if Joe had that sort of money to take care of this sort of business, then he would use it to his advantage, unfortunately. So we are in a state of limbo right now, and it is hoped that the family really get onto this and really find out the truth about their daughter. If not, then the autopsy from Africa stands. However, I it stands to reason that I'm sure the family of Ashlee Jenae will be getting funds together. I think there's a GoFundMe out there right now, who are trying to get together some sort of autopsy, some sort of investigation done, so that proper closure can be brought to Ashley's unaliving. Let's continue.
Now, not only can the US apply pressure and change stuff over there can be charges brought here in the US, but very, 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 very difficult. And there also could be a civil case brought against Joe from her family. Again, very, very, very rare. I'm just giving you what is possible now that her body is back here. Okay. But just from the information that I've gathered and my experience, the family, and who I hope is watching this and I've heard have been watching my videos, please, please, please concentrate on bringing charges over there. I know it's hard. Raise money, use the Joe Buttons, use the Cardi B's, use the academics, use my videos, use content creators' videos, use the international media, and put pressure on Zanzibar and the officials, because that is where the crime was committed. If there was a crime, to be fair, if there's a crime, and that is where it's going to be easiest to hold whoever did this to justice. Okay, now that is.
So again, as Turn Out Loud is saying here, you in order to get a true pressure built up on the autopsy of said body, you really want to base it in the place of death, and that is in Africa, in Zanzibar, and it's up to the family, it's up to celebrities who support the family to do that, because again, you know, it is quite difficult to get that um, sort of justice here in the United States. Although she is an American citizen, and it would be, it would behoove the family to put pressure on the American government to see if that something can be done here. But the crime was done in Zanzibar, so again, it behooves the family, it behooves celebrity supporters to put pressure on the government in Africa to really turn up the heat with regards to this autopsy and see where things lie. And but who's not really a part of this whole investigation? That is the ex-fiance, the fiance in question. That is Joe McCann. He has remained silent throughout this whole thing, and I think allegedly things are heating up with regards to him. Let's continue.
Is the autopsy and toxicology. Let's move on to the fact of why Zanzibar would release her body. Like I said, so happy for their parents, family members, whatever, that her body is back. Great. But there is some sort of negative to this, is that it seems as though the Zanzibar investigation is coming to a close, because that would be a reason. I'm not saying it is the exact reason, but that would be a very good reason to release her body. Normally, you release the body closer to the end of the investigation. It's only been a week and a half. We haven't heard anything about surveillance videos. We'll touch on that soon. We've heard about potential arrests and questioning, but we haven't heard much. And to be releasing a body after a week and a half is very, very quick for something this large in scale. So it worries me that they held the body, did the autopsy, toxicology, held and questioned Joe to hopefully quiet the media, to quiet the international pressure that Zanzibar had for 3-4 days continuously. And now that they feel like, oh, some of the attention is gone because it's not being talked about that much in mainstream media. All right, okay, cool. We'll release her body back to her family. And of course, I also think they're releasing her body back to her family to maybe ease their pressure. Okay, we have her body back. Whew. Okay, that's what's most important. And now Joe can have his way, or the hotel, or whoever was involved in this have their way. This is what is my fear of the body being released. But please.
So here's the deal. And I think there's a reason why there was this quick investigation, there's quick autopsy and body released back to the United States. Is because, again, Zanzibar is dealing with a very lucrative tourist trade, and they do not want to have this stain on their tourist trade, especially during this recession. So again, they really want to make this as official as possible. Really want to get this sorted out quickly and quietly so that they can move on, and the story can move on in the States and not so much in Zanzibar, where tourism is of great need. So, yes, there is surveillance to go through. Yes, there's a further investigation of the body to go through. Yes, there is Joe McCann's alleged involvement to go through. However, one thing that the country and the hotel do not want is this bad stench in and around their country slash their hotel, because that could wreck with their tourism money immensely. And so they really want to take care of this quickly, efficiently, quietly as possible. Release her back to the States. Let them do their investigation so that they can get on with the business of tourism. Let's continue.
In no way am I at all trying to say that it's a bad thing. Very happy for her parents. Okay, now I pulled, I think, 5 questions that I've been seeing in the comment section that I want to try to address for you guys. Okay, there has been no official change in ruling. If you remember, the reason why we even know about this case, why it is gone international, is because the police ruled Ashlee's unaliving as a self-unaliving. The investigation, the autopsy, the toxicology, holding Joe, passport, all that stuff, I hope was not for show, but it could have all been for show. As of now, today, as I am recording this, there has been no change in ruling. It is still ruled a self-unaliving. It was all Ashlee's doing, and all they done was just question and did an autopsy. That is an answer to a first question.
So again, this leads into the whole problem with regards to tourism. If it's a self-unaliving, then it doesn't hit the tourism board, in Zanzibar, or the tourism, or the tourism in Africa. Really, let me. You know what? I'm gonna get this thing. I am going to get this because this is driving me nuts. Zanzibar. Yes, Zanzibar, Africa. Where is that? That would be in. Oh, Tanzania. There we go. Thank you very much. It's in Tanzania. Thank you. I just wanted to get that clarification. So, again, sorry about that. We go back into it. Yeah, so in Tanzania, that's where the tourism board in Tanzania, the tourism board that is Zanzibar, they do not want uh, they do not want to deal with this subject, as long as if there's any foul play, especially if it's alleged that Joe McCann was involved. As long as they say it's suicide, then it keeps relatively, the tourism board clear, the tourism board clear in Tanzania, in Zanzibar, and really tries to move this thing along to the United States and keeps their hands clean. So they really, the hotel and the tourism board in Tanzania really don't want this sort of controversy, because an American coming over and she is found unalive there, it's not very good. It's not very good for tourism at all. So they really, if you had to really say it, the best case scenario was that she unalived herself. That is Ashlee Jenae, and that's what the autopsy showed. And so she's flown back to the States. Now it's up to the parents. It is up to, supposedly, um, Mr. McCann, eh, and for the American government and American authorities to deal with their own version of her death. But again, according to Tanzania and the Tanzanian authorities, they really, it's a very, very, unfortunately, clean cut way of ending this controversy by saying that she unalived herself rather than uh, through foul play of another. Let's continue, because it all leads back to tourism. Let's continue.
The second question is, or maybe not necessarily a question, but something I just want to emphasize. Tanzania doesn't have a reason to change their ruling.
Yeah.
If they change their ruling, do you know how embarrassing that would be for the Tanzanian people? Do you know how embarrassing that would be for the police and for anybody involved who made that ruling? And this is why I keep going back to parents, us, Joe, academics, Cardi B, you, me. They are going to need 10 times the amount of pressure that they had to change a ruling. If they change a ruling, they are admitting wrongdoing and they're opening themselves up. And this is what I'm fearing about her body being back here and them just trying to sweep this under the rug. They need proof beyond a reasonable doubt for them to change their ruling because it looks bad. Okay.
And that's why I say it looks bad, not only for the Tanzanian government and their rule of law, absolutely, but definitely to one of their biggest earners within the country, and that is tourism. Tourism, it is badly needed. So to have, foul play being involved and they botching that, it is very, very, very bad for business. So they need to have something that is, yeah, as they said, beyond reasonable doubt to overturn their decision that she unalived herself. And it was caused at her own hands. That is Ashlee Jenae. So, that's the reason why they want to sleep under the rug. That's why they want this investigation done quickly, quietly, and moved on to the United States. Let's continue.
Let's go now to hotel evidence. Now, I wish I had more answers, but of course, things are tied up over there. Like I said, because I think they're trying to hide stuff. But where is the hotel evidence? Now, one other thing that they could do to have the ruling be more believable is clean up evidence. And when the police have an initial ruling, and normally 9 times out of 10, once there's a ruling, it's not changed, they could clean up the evidence. So that could have been a way for them to hide evidence. All right, we have a ruling, self-unaliving done. Clean up the room and we gotta get it ready for the next guest. Now, I'm not saying that's exactly what's happened, but I'm saying that could be a reason for rushing this ruling, Joe paying them off, and we don't know about the evidence. We have listened to the press conference. I've played it for you. It was in I can't remember the language they speak of there, but it was just translated. And they haven't said much about the actual evidence. We know about, yes, the worker asking for the phone charger, coming back saying, "Do you want service? Come back in 15 minutes." But the evidence, was there DNA in the room? Was there blood in the room? Was there fingerprints? Did they do any of that? We're still waiting on that. Okay,
So again, there is DNA. If there is DNA evidence, if there is further fingerprint evidence, if there's any sort of blood marks of any kind, if there's any sort of thing that challenges the ruling the uh, of the coroner and of government officials, that's bad for business, ladies and gentlemen. That's bad for business. So they really, 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 I'm sure they did as thorough an investigation as they could to take the the onus off of the hotel, even though they do have cameras everywhere, but they really want to take the onus off the hotel. They really want to take the onus off of hotel staff, because it's bad for business. So they really, what ties everything up and puts a big bow on this is, unfortunately, the unalizing of Ashlee Jenae herself. If that's the case, then the hotel's not responsible, police is not responsible, coroner's not responsible, and they get to move this on, and they can get on with the business of clearing the room, get somebody else in there, and move on with business, because that the business of the country, unfortunately, among other natural resources, of course, is tourism, and they need that tourism dollar, and they don't want it to be hurt by anything as controversial as this. Let's continue.
the answer is we're still waiting, right? Now, the fourth thing is Joe's passport. Here's where things get tricky again with the body. Joe's passport was allegedly held pending an autopsy investigation. Now that the autopsy has been done, they have their samples. Does that mean that Joe gets to leave? Does that mean that Joe gets his passport back? Now, in a technical sense, the autopsy hasn't been released to the public. Toxicology, we don't know if it's done. They have samples. Sometimes it could take weeks, sometimes it could take months. But this goes back again to, we'll find out if this is a cover up or a real investigation. It could be where they were like, all right, Joe, we have a lot of eyes and ears on us. We're just going to keep you here. We're going to keep you detained, keep your passport. We're going to say we're just doing it for the autopsy. Cool. When they send her body back, everybody will be happy. Her body is back. And then a couple of days later, we'll say, hey, we held him for the autopsy. It didn't, show us anything else. It's still ruled as a self-unaliving. Joe can leave. I haven't heard that happened yet, but I've heard that we should find out in the next few days. Now that her body has been sent back, we're going to find out shortly what is going to happen to Joe and his passport. That is that update. Now,
Joe fits in nicely to that sort of idea, because again, Joe would, allegedly, allegedly would like this thing wrapped up quite quickly, where he's not, um, he is not incriminated for this act. If there's foul play, then I'm sure that the coroner in Tanzania, in Zanzibar, really would like this this thing wrapped up quickly. So we held him. We did our investigation. She underlined herself. He gets his passport back. He's gone. So it serves him and also serves the nation. in terms of tourist dollars. So it really works out hand in hand. One hand shakes the other. However, it is really, really, really up to the parents, the family, the celebrities who support Ashlee Jenae, and to put pressure and to keep things keep things alive, to borrow a bad pun, in terms of this investigation, so that that Ashlee is given justice. Let's continue.
Lastly, your question and my question, and I've asked this question in every single video that I've posted, and I've asked this question to my reporter friend, a source, and people in Zanzibar that I've been speaking to. Where is the surveillance footage? Yesterday, I said, I am hoping and praying. I am just hoping and praying that there are good people in that hotel management that are keeping that surveillance video close to their chest. And I think, like I said, they should give it to the parents because we don't know who we could trust over in Zanzibar. I wouldn't give it to the police. I'm going to give it to no government official. I'm going to give it to nobody. I would give it to Ashlee's parents. I know some of you, after that interview, kind of question her parents. I trust the parents, okay? I mean, there may have been a mishap in, announcing if her body's back or not or whatever, but those are her parents. They should get the tapes. Where are the tapes? We already know from the newspaper article that the police and the hotel are not on the same page. They're giving conflicting answers to the same question, really pointing to the police not giving proper information and the hotel. To me and my research, I am still holding faith in the hotel and the hotel management. It's on a very, very, very thin line. But if everybody out there between Joe, government officials, police, and the hotels, that one newspaper and the hotel, but it's wearing thin. But I think the fact that we don't have the surveillance footage, I think that could be a silver lining because it could mean that it hasn't gotten in the hands of somebody that can tamper with it. And we have spoken about the key card that could track when Joe was sent into his room after the neighbor spoke about fighting days and days and days. And on the 8th of April, it was too much. We know that they brought Joe into another room, 8 to 10 minutes walk away. We do know, we showed you video and pictures that, yes, that key card tells us a lot, but it doesn't tell us the back of the villas. There's a bunch of windows. There's a bunch of doors that they're not key carded. Joe could have left out that window. He could have walked that 8 or 10 minutes, and he could have gone in through the back window or back doors. When they escorted him out the room, he could have gotten some clothes, gotten his bag, and left the window open and came in that room. But a villa this high end, you cannot walk for 8 to 10 minutes without some camera catching you. I don't care if there's some blind spots. You cannot walk on a villa this size and on this high level without being caught somewhere. We are still waiting for the surveillance videos. And like I said, there's a person who I'm speaking with out there that they are going to let me know as soon as they know when we will be getting updates on the surveillance video. Stay tuned for that.
So there it is, ladies and gentlemen. So what we have now is indeed, um, yeah, the key evidence, which is the surveillance video of the on the eve of her death. That is yet to be released. That is yet to be sorted out. And this is the problem with as you can see, Ashlee's both parents are. This is Ashlee's father. That's Ashlee's mother. Again, they have remarried. But just to bring it forward, is that that surveillance tape has yet to be released. That yes, I think only the coroner has been able to investigate it, and again, that's going to provide some key evidence to this whole matter altogether. So again, it is imperative that that surveillance camera is released, especially to the parents here, so that a full investigation can be done, and we can give fuller context to the autopsy outcome. and in not only in Tanzania, but also in Zanzibar in Tanzania, but also in furtherance of the of any autopsy that's done here in done in the United States in Philadelphia where she is from. And so yeah, we await that. That is yet to be released. And again, I think that provides the key to most, if not all, things, and especially it adds to the speculation of Joel McCann's involvement in this unaliving. Let's continue.
Last question that we're going to try to address are the questions about Ashlee Jenae's parents. A couple of you have dragged Ashley's parents in the comment section, and I've seen it online. The parents are sus. What's going on? There's been conversation of why aren't they crying, or why aren't they in Zanzibar? Why aren't they doing more? If that was my daughter, etc., etc. It's very, very easy to play Monday morning quarterback. If that was me, this. If that was me, that. While I understand some of the criticism, and I have been a little critical, none of us understands what it is like to be in their position. So I'm choosing to give them grace. While I am giving them grace, I also do hope that the return of Ashley's body, I hope, gives them comfort, gives them solace, and gives them some sort of closure. But what I hope that it doesn't do is I hope it doesn't stop them from the pressure that they need to put on Zanzibar. I hope that it only amplifies the pressure. Let it give you closure, fine, but that should amplify the pressure. That should make you double down. Like, okay, you know what? We were playing Mr. Nice Guy because we wanted to make sure we got our daughter's body back. Now that the body is home here now, all right, cool. Now you're about to see what's going to go down. Start a GoFundMe for an investigation, for political pressure. We want an independent autopsy, toxicology. We want everything. We want boots on the ground over in Zanzibar. Take the weekend, mom and dad, get closure, do what you need to do. But if I were you, make this be the reason for you to go from 0 to 100 real quick.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen. So we're going to end the thing there, and he is absolutely right. The parents, again, the father here on the right, and the mother below on the left. They have remarried. They have moved on with different partners. But what's the uh, key part of this case is that they need to come together and really push forward for an independent examination, independent autopsy of their daughter. And so these four people, but more or less these two people who are now divorced, need to come together and really push to have their child fully investigated by U.S. authorities. Really take the toxicology report, really do a new autopsy, and move forward this investigation because it is a tragic one, and there are so many holes within this, and it is clear that this is beyond yet done. We have yet to see the surveillance camera. We have yet to get a full an American view of the actual unaliving of Ashlee Jenae, and it is a tragic affair that I'm sure the parents will get behind, and celebrity help, such as from Cardi B, such as from Joe Budden, such as from DJ Academics, to find and answer this investigation. But we gotta thank the one and only Trent Out Loud for this update to this. So shout out to Trent Out Loud doing wonderful things in YouTube streets, and please like and subscribe to Trent Out Loud, ladies and gentlemen, and we'll follow up with him in due course with regards to this investigation. But we are not done yet, ladies and gentlemen, because it seems allegedly that Mr. Moneybags, Mr. Joe McCann, the uh, the the crypto fund manager, seems to have not financed this trip at all. That it was actually Ashlee Jenae herself who financed this trip. So it seems that White Zaddy didn't do the deed. It was actually a show of, uh, you know, keeping up with the Joneses. by the late Ashlee Jenae herself. And we're gonna hear from this from Angry Man, and he's doing wonderful things YouTube streams. Please subscribe to Angry Man whenever you can. So let's get into it.
Investing if you were going to go get with Brad or William Cartwright and still
how this perfect couple influencer revealed that she's the one paying the bills in the relationship.
Let's not pretend that I'm the one that paid the deposit on our house. Let's not pretend that I'm not the one that paid for the Range Rover. Let's not pretend that I'm the one that paid for this whole life that we live. Let's not pretend that. Let's not pretend. Let's not pretend. Oh, okay. Let's not pretend.
Well, let's, ladies and gentlemen, this is a couple that are on OnlyFans, and well, they finance their lifestyle through nefarious means, to say the least. But again, this leads into our Ashlee Jenae and Joe McCann. All right, let's continue.
Let's just be very, very real. You told me to put it on live, so I put it on live. So, and then you want to start talking about a glass of wine, and then you want to start saying, oh, are you not going to talk? After I was just sitting here silent before we even got on live. I've been not talking. I've been not talking. I've been not talking. So what are you talking about? Oh, okay.
So I don't know how many of y'all remember her, but that, ladies and gentlemen, is the notorious Queen of Kings. Now, many of y'all that don't know about her, she was a big deal a couple of years ago. Everybody was doing hit pieces on her simply because this was a woman that was a swirler, divester, whatever you want to call it, but she created an entire lifestyle brand on social media that centered around the idea of swirling. Now, one of the reasons why she caught a lot of people's attention is because she went on entire campaigns to prove that she had the perfect relationship, where she had been rescued by her knight in shining armor who came in and did all of the things that black men wouldn't do. And yes, she spent a lot of time disparaging black men every chance she got.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's just stop right there. Again, we mourn the loss of Ashlee Jenae, but she was no angel in her life. Especially when it came to black men. She went out of her way to, well, how should I say, denigrate the reputation of black men, period, and also, badmouth them on social media whenever she got the chance to. However, well, whatever happened to Joe McCann allegedly is yet to be laid bare, ladies and gentlemen, as we will hear for the rest of the night. This was not a man who was, well, how should I say, besotted with money. Was one who was, well, basically loaded with cash here, ladies and gentlemen. This man, well, he was allegedly near, if not on his last legs, and it was because of this, and because Ashlee Jenae wanted to keep up appearances, that she financed his trip to Tanzania, and not, and not Joe McCann, allegedly. Let's continue.
Only problem was, as much as she was portraying this lifestyle, of going on these lavish trips, and every time they turn the camera on, they're all smiles and everybody's just happy and all of these different things. We found out that it was all a crock of shit, simply because one day she decided to get drunk and went live and got into an argument with her William Cartwright and decided to air him out in front of the whole world and basically say that, look, don't try to get up here and flex in front like you the man, because I'm paying for everything. I'm paying for the whole lifestyle. Now, the interesting thing about this is I find it ironic that even when they are in a relationship with a non-black man, they're still giving the non-black man the same treatment that they give the brothers. Because when I was listening to her go in on him, I didn't hear anything different. So at some point, we got to start realizing maybe it's not the men. Maybe it's you. Maybe you're the one with the problem. Maybe you have control issues. Maybe you like dominating men, right? But that's a whole video for another time, right? But at the end of the day, this entire concept of swirling or divesting, it's supposed to be about them getting the soft life, right? Now, what is the soft life?
Are you wondering how to get from survivor mode to soft life? Well, it's pretty simple. In survivor mode, you're concentrating on 3 major things that you need: food, water, shelter. You are your provider, and every ounce of your well-being is going into making sure those 3 things aren't threatened. However, in soft life, you are no longer the provider. Let me explain what that means. In soft life, you begin to put your trust in something higher than yourself. You are no longer the person, thing responsible for every single decision in your life, but you are leaning, depending on something greater than yourself. In soft,
They see. Sorry to cut her off in her diatribe, in her soliloquy, but when she says something, she means someone. Whenever she says something, always think it's someone. That's what soft life's about. Soft life has never been about you believe something coming around and providing a better lifestyle for you. No, it's someone. And that's what Ashlee Jenae was well, she was trying to get into in her later years as she was 31, and time was ticking, and she was soon to be in no man's land, so she needed to make decisions now. So she wanted a soft life. So when this lady here is giving us so eloquently her take on soft life, remember, something means someone. Let's continue.
life, you can ask God to be your provider. And in asking God to be your provider, what you're actually doing is trusting that your basic needs, food, shelter, water, clothing, will be provided for you. And therefore, you're able to focus on things that will actually help you become softer.
So that right there is basically what the soft life entails. Now, as far as her saying that she's going to put her trust in a higher power and she's going to put her trust in God in order to get the soft life, I find that ironic, considering the fact that every time they start talking about soft life, their solution is to get a white man to be their provider. Now, I'm not going to make the connection there. All I'm going to say is that's nasty work. And I could do a whole series about why that's problematic, right?
Right. And you know what? And that is true there, Angry Man. Absolutely true. But we have no time for that. We all know that these white men aren't going after these black women, period, unless they are of top-notch value. And even so, they're only chosen to 0.5% to 1%. Let's go to 1% of women are involved, of black women are actually dating, if not married, to white men. Okay, so they're basically used as a fetish, but I digress. So we will move on here, people. We will move on because we want to get to the bottom of certain things. So let's just get in here a little further on. Let's continue.
This entire time.
Oh, let's go there. Yes.
Y'all, this is the bombshell for you. So Joe McCain, ex-wife, has come forward and said that Joe is not the wealthy person that he has been portraying himself to be this entire time. She said that Joe is actually broken in a crack smoker and he has just pretended to be this person. And she also speculated that it was Ashlee who funded the entire trip, y'all. Oh my God. Anyhow, which explains why he did not
Allegedly.
offer any financial means to the family, and which is why they had to raise money through the GoFundMe page, because he is broke and he couldn't offer them anything because he had nothing to offer. Also, the family finally has gotten enough money to go to Zanzibar and do their own investigation to look into these allegations or these claims that Joe McCain's wife dropped. y'all.
Ladies and gentlemen, again, we've already answered that. The family has not gone to Zanzibar as yet to conduct their own investigation. They have now received the body and they'll do their investigation in the United States and not in Zanzibar, Tanzania. Let's continue.
So first, let me start by saying I'm not surprised. If she fully funded that trip, it would not shock me in the least, right? Now, as far as Joe McCann being broke or not, I mean, that's still up in the air. We don't know for a fact. His ex-wife is coming out saying that he is broke. Now, it's not a stretch of the imagination that a trader, that a person dealing in crypto can go broke. Like, that's not a stretch of the imagination. People with a lot of money go broke all the time, because just because you have a lot of money doesn't mean you don't owe a lot of people or whatever, right? I really don't care at the end of the day whether he's broke or not. But for the sake of this video, I will say that we keep seeing this over and over again. You know, whether he's broke or not, we keep seeing it over and over again where these swirlers or these divestors, it ends up coming out that they're funding the lifestyle. They're paying for everything, right? You saw that with Queen of Kings that I played for you earlier. But here's the thing. My question is this. Are they that desperate for a victory, right? Because the entire concept of swirling and divesting is they're trying to prove to the world something definitive. They're trying to prove that black men are just not suitable to be husbands, mates, whatever, right? And they're trying to show us that when they divest away from Blackistan, as they put it, and they get with a Brad, William Cartwright, you know, everything's going to be better. And they're going to be taken care of. And they're going to live a soft life. And they're not going to have to lift a finger, right? They're trying to prove this definitively. So when they get into these relationships with these guys, and they realize that the grass isn't greener on the other side and everything that glitters isn't gold, they would have to admit that maybe the issue is not your choice in men as far as their racial backgrounds. Maybe the issue is you. Maybe when you're on this side of the fence, you're picking dudes that are losers, but they're comfortable with showing you that they're losers. But then when you jump the fence, you're still picking losers. They're just better at hiding the fact that they're losers. Because I'm here to tell you right now, there's no difference in men, you know, as far as dating and mating goes. There's no difference between the races. There are good men on both sides. There are bad men on both sides, whether they're white or black. And at some point, these swirlers are going to have to realize that who you pick is a reflection of you.
Ladies and gentlemen, Angry Man couldn't have said it any better, ladies and gentlemen. It seems, well, if you didn't know Ashlee Jenae's background, let me tell you. Ashlee Jenae used to date, again, rappers and athletes. That was especially on the black side of things. She used to be, you know, she she's a player hunter. She had dated the likes of Kevin Gates. She had dated the likes of other different rappers and athletes, and she could not secure one over time. So therefore, she went to the other end and chose a Joe McCann, who was supposedly a crypto fund, crypto hedge fund manager who was earning millions of dollars a year. However, crypto was hit hard recently, and a lot of people lost their search, including allegedly Joe McCann. And again, she bet on the wrong horse. So what does one who bet on the wrong horse and who tried to dunk on black men saying that they ain't shit will do? Well, they'll try to keep up appearances as much as possible to make sure that their choice is legitimate. So therefore, if they have to fund a trip, if they have to fund a lifestyle that is not exactly Joe McCann's own, they will do it in order to continue a narrative. And that's exactly allegedly what Ashlee Jenae went on. Her trip to Tanzania was allegedly not financed by Joe McCann. It was allegedly financed by Ms. Ashlee Jenae herself, and unfortunately, that led to her untimely demise. And again, we pray for the family at this terrible time. But again, uh, for you to bet on the wrong horse so long as to, well, push forward a narrative that not is necessarily true is, it's how should I say? It's a bit foolhardy, and it just goes to show that, is it really worth it? Is it really that bad that you need to be proven right? And in many cases, it, it shouldn't. But a lot of people go on this idea that, white is right and going on the other side and you will be saved. But it's not the case when black men are being married now at a greater right by those outside of their race, and they're being found out as being great fathers and being great husbands. So that sort of stereotype is falling down the tube, especially when 96% of black men are free, disengaged, fully functional, tax-paying citizens. 54% of those uh, are single and childless, and 61% in the middle class. So we're not all bad after all, are we? Let's continue.
They don't seem to understand this, right? But they're so desperate to prove that it's not them, to prove that they're still going to get a victory, to prove that they're not taking an L, that when they get with these guys and they find out that they're not who they claim to be, they're willing to pay for everything. They're willing to pay for the lifestyle, to keep up the facade, to keep the lie alive, just so they can continue to push their narrative, right? And by the way, I don't know if you guys know this or not, but from what I understand, Ashlee Jenae actually was a follower of Shira 7. I found that to be really interesting as well.
We're gonna leave it there with Angry Man. I think he has made his point. If you're a follower of Shira 7, well, you need to take a good, long, hard look in the mirror, because she is leaving you down well, a road to nowhere. Let's say that. Let's definitely say that. Not to say that 1% can survive on such theories, but they are truly theories, and bad ones at that. But thank you very much for Angry Man here, doing wonderful things YouTube streets. Please subscribe to Angry Man, and he is doing wonderful work out here. And you know what? It is true. Ashlee Jenae pay for the whole trip, as described by the video. But let's get into the one and only, and this is the reason why we are dealing with this whole tragic, sordid affair, is because, well, Ashley Jenae did not exactly exonerate herself in life. Yes, you're not supposed to be ill of the dead, but while she was alive, she felt ill of someone, and it happened to be of her own hue. So let's get into it here with the one and only Poetic Flacco and Wonderful Things YouTube Streets and his video. Black men are celebrating the death of this influencer, and we shouldn't. Let me say this: we should not be celebrating the death of Ashley Jenae. All we're doing is stating the facts during her life. We are not celebrating that at all. We are not going to the levels of black women when the one and only Godfather was unalived, unfortunately, due to a heart attack, due to cardiac arrest. And yeah, I would not wish that on anybody else. And so we're not doing that. All we're doing here is stating facts. R.I.P. Ashlee Jenae. Let's continue.
That divided. Ashlee Jenae is an influencer who has went viral for her content around her interracial relationship. She's dating an older white guy as a young black woman, and that's something that people gravitated towards. People like other people who wish to be in their own interracial relationships gravitated towards this. She would often flaunt the extravagant lifestyle that her white boyfriend was able to get for her, and from the outside looking in, they was the perfect couple, and she had it made. She was a young...
Who's to say that this wasn't financed by herself? Just saying, let's continue.
Black girl in Miami who was able to bag a hedge fund manager. Her boyfriend was Joe McCann. He describes himself as a technology executive. He's a hedge fund manager. He owns his own company. So the dude had a lot of money. And from the outside looking in, he was taking care of her and giving her a lot of that money. Even though there was no evidence to the contrary that they was a loving, devoted couple who was committed to each other and loved each other, people always had a bad feeling about this guy, Joe McCann. And her comment section would actually prove that. Now, it's unclear if these are just people commenting because, they disagree with interracial relationships, or if they knew something that Ashlee and the rest of us didn't know. About 18 weeks ago, one user commented under a picture of her and Joe, and they wrote, "He is going to harm you, get out." 19 weeks ago, another user commented under a picture of her and Joe, and they wrote, "What a dummy. He will kill you, one the slave owner." Now, this person don't really seem like they had any type of foresight or they knew any information about Joe. It just seems like hate, which obviously we detest and disavow completely. Yeah. But people had a bad vibe about this dude and people were expressing it to her, but it didn't really seem like she was too concerned. About a week and a half ago, Ashlee and Joe went to this beautiful island in Africa called Zanzibar. They went there for vacation, but Joe had other plans for Ashlee. Joe had plans on proposing to Ashlee in Zanzibar, and when they got there, Joe proposed, and we've seen everything play out on social media.
All right. Again, ladies and gentlemen, the swirler dream is real. She found her white zaddy, and all was well with the world. All was well with the world, and we wish them every happiness. She seemed to have beaten the odds, and well, that's what we thought then. That's what we thought then. Unfortunately, things took a terrible turn.
The engagement was also a birthday surprise for her as well because she turned 31 years old in Zanzibar and she posted her birthday pictures on April 5th, right? Again, it looks like she was...
Again, this was financed allegedly by herself. This was not Joe McCann financing this trip. He was just there as window dressing to make the Swirler Nation know that we have got one. We have victory over tyranny. I digress.
Very happy to be in Zanzibar. She was very happy to be turning 31. The caption for the post says, "Chapter 31, and I'm exactly where I need to be." She's feeding giraffes on her birthday. It looks like life couldn't get any much better for Ashlee, which is why the internet is absolutely stunned to find out that after Ashlee got engaged, after Ashlee was feeding giraffes, after Ashlee was talking about how life couldn't get any much better for her at this point, and
after Ashlee financed this whole trip herself, allegedly,
that she's just turned 31 and she's exactly where she wants to be, after Ashlee expressed how grateful she was for life, the internet was stunned to find out that Ashlee was found dead shortly afterwards. And even more shocked that Joe was saying that Ashlee self-deleted herself, that Ashlee did it to herself and took her own life. A friend of Ashlee named Savannah Britt would take to social media and say, "We need justice for my friend Ashlee Jenae, who was found dead in her hotel in Tanzania. And her fiance, Joe McCann, claims that she hung herself. Anyone who knows Ashlee knows she would never do this. We need answers now." Officials did confirm that Ashlee was found unresponsive in her hotel room by Joe. So Joe found her unresponsive, and Joe is claiming that she did this to herself. But if Joe and Ashlee is on vacation, then why was Joe gone long enough to where Ashlee would be able to do this? To me, that doesn't make sense, all right? And if this person was in the mind state where they were going to do this, I feel like there would have been clear-cut signs. But her family is saying this is not even possible, right? And I'll be real, social media right now isn't buying this story either.
Okay, so at this point, let's just go ahead and lock up Joe and everybody else that believe his story, because you cannot for a second get me to believe that this woman hung herself. If you have not seen the news yet, This lady here is Ashlee Jenae. She's 31. She's an influencer. She has a very large following on Instagram. I'm not sure if she has a TikTok page. If she does, please tag it in the comments. This woman was in Tanzania for her 31st birthday. While they were there, he proposed
Tanzania, people. Tanzania.
to her somewhere along the lines of that proposal, and the rest of that day, they got into an argument, according to him. They slept in separate rooms. That's where it starts to not click for me. They got into an argument after the proposal. Now, he's claiming that he went into her room and found her unresponsive. The family's claiming that he waited 2 days before he even called the authorities or the family to let them know what was going on. So he wants everybody to believe that he just walked in there and found her unconscious. He's claiming that she hung herself. She's in a foreign country on her birthday. She just got proposed to. According to the family, she is full of life. She's very positive and everything, but somewhere along the lines of this entire vacation, she hung herself. This is what he wants.
So, ladies and gentlemen, it is true. And it raises a lot of questions. Very good by this TikToker to bring that to our attention. And that is that how can a woman, 31 years old, in the prime of life, with so much to look forward to, just proposed to by a crypto fund manager, how can, and who's worth millions and millions of dollars allegedly, how can she want to unalive herself when she has reached the pinnacle? She has reached the peak. She has done what swirlers and swirlers around the world have wished her to do, and that is find her white zaddy. Why would she then unalive herself? It makes no sense. It doesn't make no sense. And that is why, indeed, it is critical that the family of Ashlee do an autopsy, an official investigation of her death in order to bring closure, in order to bring fullness to this proceeding, because this doesn't sit right. It really doesn't sit right. As stated, it took 2 days for Joe McCann to reach the parents. It took 2 days for them to report it to the police. Again, and then we have the official autopsy in Tanzania say that she was she unalived herself. It was um, by a S, uh, by well, she unalived herself. Let's say that, for lack of a better word. And why would she do that when she has everything to live for? Even though she did pay for the trip, allegedly, she had so much to live for. Why would she unalive herself? It makes no sense. It's imperative that the parents do get together, get a GoFundMe together. If celebrity influencers can help out in this endeavor, even better, because this does not look or smell right. Let's continue.
Wants people to believe. I'm not buying it. Lock him up and everybody else that believes his story.
It's unclear if him waiting 2 days is confirmed, but what is confirmed is yes, they did have an argument according to Joe. They went their separate ways. He goes to another room. She's in the room they booked. They don't speak, according to Joe, for a while. He comes back to check up on her because he hasn't heard from her. He finds her unconscious and unresponsive. I don't know too many people, especially too many Americans, who's waiting to go to Africa and to do that to themselves, bro. I'm thinking that if somebody will want to do that to themselves, it'll be somewhere like right and familiar. I don't think that like that young woman is saying, "Hey, I'm in Africa where my family is nowhere around me. I have nobody around me that knows me other than this man who I'm currently beefing with and arguing with. Let me do this to myself in a foreign land." I just don't think that's plausible at all. I don't. I do think something.
So, indeed, it is imperative that the family has an official autopsy, that they get to the bottom of this, and they, hold Joe McCann to proof that he wasn't involved in this matter. Uh, and in order for them to find answers, in order for them to get closure, it is imperative that they do that, because this is now reaching serious bounds. The Tanzanian government have already made their decision. It's up to American authorities to do their due diligence and find out what indeed, in their opinion, was a reason for the unaliving of Ashlee Jenae. Let's continue.
Nefarious took place here. And the family also thinks so too, because the family released the full statement, and here what they had to say. The family statement writes, Ashlee Robinson was on what should have been one of the happiest trips of her life, a birthday celebration in Zanzibar, Africa. Ashlee's birthday was April 5th. She just turned 31. Surrounded by beauty, love, and wildlife, she became engaged during a safari, an unforgettable moment that marked the start of a future she was excited to build. She and her fiance, Joe McCann, was staying in a luxury villa at the Zori Zanzibar, continuing what we believe was her dream trip. But just days later, that dream turned into our family's worst nightmare. Ashlee was found unconscious in her villa and was rushed to a local hospital where her death was confirmed hours later. Nothing about this loss feels real. One moment she was celebrating love and life in truly Ashlee fashion, and the next she was gone. The suddenness, the unanswered questions, and the distance from home have made this tragedy even more overwhelming for our family. At this time, there is an active investigation into the circumstances surrounding Ashlee's suspicious passing. Although we have many questions, we are placing our trust in the officials in Zanzibar and are working closely with them as we seek clarity and answers. I'll be real, bruh, with family right now. If you trust African authorities, the police in Africa, if you trust the police in Africa to prosecute and to seek answers in the death of your daughter that involves a really, really, really wealthy white man, you're out of your mind, bro. All right? I'm African myself, and I'm here to tell you right now, bro, these African officials are corrupt, and they going with whatever the rich white man got to say, bro. Y'all got to hire a private investigator. These officials ain't doing a goddamn thing. But it goes
again, as stated earlier. It's bad for business. It's bad for business for the Tanzanian government to go to do a full investigation and found there was foul play here, because that means a lot of people would not want to visit Tanzania. There's a lot of money at stake here. So the best thing, as you can see, this was dated April 12th, 2026, only a couple weeks back, as we are on the 25th today. So only a couple weeks back this letter came out. So we are in the midst of, the American family, the Robinsons, the Endres family, the Endres family being that of the ex-wife, and the ex-husband here, the father and mother of Ashlee Jenae, looks like Robinson here. They're the ones who need to lead this investigation, along with any celebrity help that they can find, along with any sort of GoFundMe that they can find in order to get a true autopsy of things, and maybe even put pressure on the American government to help out in this action, because it is not going to come from the Tanzanian government. Unfortunately, it's not going to do it. It goes against their credo regarding tourism for this to for foul play to be found. They need to go and get the surveillance tape from the hotel, but the hotel doesn't want to give that up because they don't want to lose. They don't want to lose um, people. This can actually kill the hotel's business. Period. So they really, really, really want to sweep this under the rug and move this onward. But it's imperative that the mother and father of Ashlee Jenae need to come to the fore now and do what they can in order to have a full investigation, a full autopsy revealed, full investigation of the video camera done, so that if there is foul play, it can be found in due course. Let's continue.
Ashlee was deeply loved. She was vibrant, full of life, and has so much ahead of her. Our family is completely devastated, and we appreciate the prayers and compassion we have received as we navigate the unimaginable loss. We respectfully ask that any information not directly provided by our family be treated as an unverified and not considered factual at this time. This is where the story takes a turn, and it turns into a gender war. So some black men are going back and finding her social media posts and conduct, and they're saying, hold on. Based off what we found belonging to Ashlee, her death ain't our issue. It ain't our business. We is minding our business and staying out of it. I don't want to go as far as saying they're celebrating her death because of these posts, but they're not really too sad or showing any type of remorse or sympathy for her because of these posts. So one post, Ashley wrote, "Every day black men wake up and find new ways to embarrass us." In another post, Ashley says that, that she's been wanting mixed kids since the 3rd grade. She would write, "I've been saying since the 3rd grade my children will be mixed. Laugh my A off." In another post, and this appears to be an Instagram comment, Ashley would write, "Oh brother, I see 305 in your bio. Let's talk about all the Miami men, not the white ones though." Again, she says, "Let's talk about all the Miami men, not white, beating their women still. Or is that too touchy? Go live your life while I live mine." In response to these posts resurfacing, one user says, "The woman that died explicitly excluded pink men from committing this kind of violence. That's the point." Somebody says, "Oh my damn." Somebody says, "It gets worse. Shaking my head. This MF basically said white men don't beat or harm women. LOL. Couldn't believe my eyes when she said this, shaking my head." Somebody says, "Yikes." Somebody says, "Yikes, but still not right." Right? So, and if you go on social media right now, you hear the discourse of, man, why should we feel bad because of this? Why should we feel bad? You feel me? She ain't rock with black men. She ain't like us. She was online disparaging us and saying mean things about us. Why should we?
But here it is to the contrary. She dated rappers. She dated athletes before she met Joe McCann. I think it's all about sour grapes, and she could not wait to dunk on her head top. Could not wait in life to dunk on her head top. Now, unfortunately, she met an untimely demise, and she's asked by the diaspora to go easy on her. Well, she never did in life, and believe me, if her marriage is allowed to continue by nefarious means or otherwise, this line of, how should I say, disparagement would allegedly continue unabated, because she took time out to make sure black men realize their lack of worth, which was shocking to me when only a few short years ago it was a totally different story, which is a shame. But once you see White Zaddy, you see nothing else, unfortunately, and they can do no wrong. But it seems that one allegedly did. Let's continue.
Feel sorry. Now, this same argument was here when that dude who was murdered by his white woman in the elevator, that dude, when his death went viral and people went back and found his extremely anti-black women post on Twitter, on Facebook, everywhere, people say, you know what? Well, black women say, you know what? We staying out of this one. This dude did not like black women at all.
Shout out to Chanel.
Now with this Ashley post, for like her comment was directed towards somebody else commenting on her post. Her saying she always wanted mixed babies since the 3rd grade, things like that. Fine. All I can say is I'm still going to pray for this family. I'm still going to seek justice for this woman. I'm still not going to hold this against her. She's dead. I feel like death is the ultimate redemption. Once you pass away, I feel like you should be forgiven for a lot of what you do. Again, not all now, all right? If you was touching babies, if you was murdering people when you pass away, bruh, hey, man, ain't no forgiving that, man. But for things like this, silly things like this, man, you should be forgiven in your death. But y'all let me know in the comment section.
And again, I think is absolutely right there by Poetic Flacco. Yes, indeed. I think Poetic is absolutely right in the sense that, you know what, you know, yes, she had some disparaging things to say about black men, but let us not continue with said rhetoric. I mean, it should be accounted for, yes, but it wasn't worth unaliving. It literally wasn't worth unaliving. We need to have grace at this time. Her family needs closure. Let them have their closure. I'm sure that their children. I'm sure that their child, didn't deserve this sort of fate, and so we should have a full investigation. We should, and justice should be sought out for Ashlee Jenae, even though she wasn't exactly an angel in life. Let's face facts here, guys. But yeah, it's nothing's worth that. Nothing's worth that. And we again pray for the family and really pray for the repose of their soul. But again, she was no angel. Let's put it there. Thank you very much to Poetic Flacco doing wonderful things on YouTube Street. We just got one more video here. And again, I think it here. Yes. But it seems we're gonna end it off with this video right here. Uh with Ashlee Jenae's friend. Still, however, in life, uh pushing the narrative of swirling, um, even though Ashlee Jenae has passed away, but she has taken up the torch and has now pushed for swirling herself as we leave it to the one and only O'Shea Duke Jackson doing wonderful things in YouTube streets, and he is killing the game at the moment. Shout out to O'Shea Duke Jackson, and let's get into it here with regards to I think this was Samantha. I think this is Samantha who is speaking here, and this is O'Shea's video. Ashlee Jenae's bestie starts this war with black men. Well, she's taking up the torch, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know how successful she will be, but let's get into it.
I'm tired of everybody coming on and with their opinions, with their thoughts, with their conspiracies of what they think may have happened to my friend.
I was really looking for another topic because I'm pretty sure by now a lot of y'all are tired of the Ashlee Jenae situation. And you know, when something happens like this on social media, it is really tempting for a content creator to keep making video after video about it. But then as the case goes on and it becomes larger, more people start to get involved in the situation. And in this case, it's the Ashlee Jenae GoFundMe. And then now we're hearing something back from their friends. And in this case, she has a friend that really has not appreciated what some of these people are saying. And she goes by the name of Lexi Love. She's an influencer on TikTok also, same username on Instagram. I guess you can say she's somewhat of like a, Instagram model, kind of the BBL kind of model, something like that, right?
Yeah, something that Ashlee. I mean, listen, birds of a feather flock together here, and this is her friend here, and they were in this in this same line of business, unfortunately. But again, we'll let her have her say.
And she got fed up about what happened. So she said this.
As Ashlee's friend, I'm tired of everybody coming on this app with their opinions, with their thoughts, with their conspiracies of what they think may have happened to my friend. It's clear as day that this man, my friend, he tried to stage it as a... I don't give a f*** about none of that shit. Let's put that on the floor. Number one, Ashlee would never harm herself. Ashlee was beautiful, happy, talented, hardworking. She had no reason to. I was just speaking to her, and I have the messages of while she was on this trip. Number two, Ashlee was not a gold digger, okay? That's number two. So this theory of, oh, well, maybe she was using him for his money and she got caught cheating. Shut the hell up. I'm tired of y'all f***ing. Ashlee was a hard worker. She had jobs. She was a model. She modeled. She was in all the music videos that you see online, on YouTube. She was in Drake's, French Montana, everybody that you could think of. Everybody's video. Posted on every flyer, beauty supply stores, Amazon websites, even Amazon people were using her pictures to promote. Okay, she was a hardworking model who changed her lifestyle. She changed her aesthetic, but she was always hardworking. She never needed to use a man. She had industry connections. She could have chose anybody in this world, and she chose him. Number three, I don't give a about what she may have posted in the past. Tweets this, old tweets that, this, that, and the third. We don't give a Y'all should have stood on business when she posted it. If y'all felt the way while she was still here, y'all should have did that. While she was still posting pictures with him months ago, y'all should have went and commented and looked for that. Don't wait till she died to comment on her post about the she said as if y'all knew her or knew the kind of men that she dated. Because y'all up here acting like she never dated black men. Y'all don't know her personally to know who she dated. She's dated black men. So maybe she did say some things in the past. Maybe she didn't. Regardless, that does not give anybody the right to mock her death or use it as a scapegoat to say why she did or did not deserve her demise. So I just want to.
So, ladies and gentlemen, yes, as she alluded to in her diatribe, Ashlee Jenae did date black men for a while. She did. She she enjoyed their company, as stated. She dated the likes of Kevin Gates. She dated athletes before. It just so happened that no one took a chance on her the way that Joe McCann did. Now, Joe McCann could not. Well, allegedly, he could supply the lifestyle that she was looking for. However, was it all true? Was all that glitters gold? Turns out it wasn't. And yet, the dunking on head tops will live in infamy because that cannot be erased. So, although we pray for the repose of her soul, absolutely, there was some dirt she did in life. Now, her friend here is, of course, going to stick up for her, going to stand behind her, stand on business, all this other good stuff, whatever. But it must be said that she was no angel. She was no angel. And in a full appraisal of affairs, she, she gave out, she gave out the appearance that, the whole black man ain't shit and you should be swirling and da and whatever. Well, we are here now. Now, we don't want to be here. We did not want to be here. But even if she was alive, did she seek out? I'm sure. Unfortunately, that sort of rhetoric, that sort of negative sentiments towards black men would continue. It would continue because remember, she's got her zaddy now. She's won. She's got the prize now. So she's going to be holding it overhead like a huge trophy. So we are, again, here to pick up the pieces. And we pray with the family here. But again, she was clearly no angel, as stated, as seen by the former tweet she gave out before. While she was alive. Let's continue.
Put that on the floor. All of these rumors that's going around, this, that, and the third, I'm and tired of hearing it. Lastly, I am in cahoots with someone who's living in Tanzania, and their family is a high-ranking police officer. They did let me know that Joe McCann, has been detained in Tanzania. Right now in Tanzania, they do not believe the story, so we are actively working on sending them all the information that we can, which I have been doing, sending them information so that he can send to the officers over there, so he can send to the government over there and let them see that this was a murder and this was not a... Okay, so yes, he's...
Well, again, do remember, it was judged to be a self-unaliving. That was the official autopsy report from Tanzania. So, again, Joe McCann had his passport withheld when this investigation was conducted. It's been cleared. And now he is he's a free man in the United States. But that doesn't mean the investigation's over. But from Tanzania's point of view, it is. And this is where it is imperative for the parents of Ashlee Jenae Robinson to get involved and make sure that there's a full investigation done in the States. Toxicology, autopsy, any sort of surveillance cameras, all these things are taken forward so that indeed we get full closure on this issue because again, no one deserves this. Absolutely, no one deserves this. No matter what they did in life. Let's continue.
Currently detained right now, and I don't know what's gonna happen from this point going forward. This point going on, I can't even speak. But all I'm gonna say is, please stop speaking on my friend. Please let her sleep in peace. If you don't have anything positive to say, don't say shit. And if you're gonna make a video, don't ever make a video trying to make it seem like, well, maybe this, well, maybe that. This one did it. If you're not putting it on the floor, I don't want to hear shit. Simple and period. Have a good day.
Okay, so I played her entire message there. And again, my condolences go out to the family.
Shout
I
out
am
Vladdy
taking
Zoo.
into consideration that Lexi Love knows her personally. This is her friend. We're always going to be biased towards our friends because simply we have a different relationship with them than we have with other people. But there are certain things that I want to talk about, okay? She says clearly this, didn't just want this white man for his money. She was a hard working model. She was in many music video shoots. She could have chosen anybody that she wanted. Well,
Again, good heralding by O'Shea Duke Jackson. Yes, she was a video vixen. Yes, she was. Yes, she was. That is why she got into circles with rappers, different type of artists, and I think she was trying to seek her way out that way. But when that didn't work out, along came White Zaddy. Let's continue.
let me kind of address that, being that I'm somewhat close to that industry. Number one, she's definitely beautiful. She's definitely in Miami or was in Miami. However, when you're in Miami or you're kind of, involved in the music industry, unfortunately, Ashlee Jenae is not the only beautiful woman. Competition is very fierce. She is, at the time she passed away, 31, and she does look nice, but I mean, we got to put it into perspective. She's a dark-skinned model. I'm pretty sure she faced certain levels of discrimination. You also know for hip-hop videos, a lot of times dark-skinned models are not preferred. So, they're going to go with other people, racially ambiguous. You got white, you got Hispanic, you got Afro-Latina. So, yeah, she is a model, but it wasn't like Ashlee Jenae was the biggest model. And there's a lot of competition, even in Miami. I mean, there's so many beautiful women and transient women coming from all over the United States, okay? And the guys who are in the industry have their pick. She also said she could have anyone she wanted.
Boy, you don't sit your stupid ass down. Who the f you think you is?
That is also untrue. If she could have whatever she wanted, she would have all the money in the world. She would never have to be an IG model, and she wouldn't need to date a white man that's 45 years old.
And she wouldn't have to finance the trip that she went on. Allegedly. Let's continue.
It's not in the same shape that she's in. I'm pretty sure that if she wanted the most sexually attractive dude that she could get and take care of her, it would be a guy who's in the NBA, not a guy who's 45-year-old with a beer belly, okay? We're just gonna be real. The reason why she was dealing with that man is because she could not provide that lifestyle for herself. She might not have been broke, but I can tell you, like, if you work in the entertainment industry, it's a gig economy. You got people hitting you up. You got people hitting you up for one-time music video shoots, campaigns. Even if you do get brand deals, which in my situation, I don't see why she would get that because she wasn't a content creator or anything like that. Brands take like 90 days to pay. So there's nothing about Ashlee Jenae's Instagram or TikTok page that would lead me to believe that she had consistent income. She didn't. There would be no way that she could have paid for the things that this guy was paying for because clearly she just didn't have what it takes. She was
okay, and again, I think the how should I say the altercation, the argument that took place between Ashlee Jenae and Joe McCann while they were on vacation in Tanzania, nights before her unaliving. I think it came down to money. It had to come down to finances, and I think allegedly she really found out about how much this guy was really worth, and that's the reason why they had to split up. That's the reason why they had to take separate rooms because Joe McCann, who wasn't whom she thought she would be, all that he was thought to be. Yeah, Joe McCann had a bit of money, but not baller money, not 40, 50 million dollars available so that Ashlee Jenae could live out her lifestyle dreams. No, it wasn't happening like that. Again, it's alleged that she financed a trip to Tanzania where Joe McCann proposed. And I think the true worth of said individual finally came out. And again, yeah, it caused for discord, and definite acrimony, and the separation of the two to a point where she was unalived, allegedly by her own hands, according to Tanzanian authorities. However, that has yet to be fully investigated. Let's continue.
Trading her good looks for the lifestyle that he could afford, or whatever man could pay for that stuff. All right, this is no different than any other beautiful woman that we see on Instagram. That's just the case. Second of all, how about you guys? Why didn't you guys check that at the time? Number one, the reason why nobody checked it at the time, honey, is because she was not known at the time.
He's right, you know.
Most of us did not know about Ashlee Jenae, unfortunately, until she died. At the time that she passed, and I got a hold of her Instagram, she had like 70,000, 71,000 followers. So if you don't know of a person, there is no way you can challenge what they were saying at the point of dissing black men, okay? But here's what you can't avoid. When black men and people in general were telling her, like, look, like, he gonna kill you, he gonna delete you. Obviously she was ignoring those comments. All right, people were saying, look, you should get away from this guy. It don't make sense, like something is wrong with the dude. She ignored those things, okay? So clearly we don't want to talk about that. Again, I know that's your friend, but the truth is the truth. She would then,
Yeah, she didn't want to talk about that because, again, then the dream, the illusion would come crashing down. It would literally come crashing down. Her idea of finding White Zaddy, Joe McCann, and her living a certain lifestyle, and her, living the soft life, and her doing all these wonderful things around the world, taking trips, taking tours, shopping sprees, that sort of thing, all financed allegedly by White Zaddy. That would all come crashing down if any sort of discord would have been found, if there's any sort of arguments that would have found out there, if any further digging was done on Joe McCann, which it was done. I believe that who should I say? He was on a board for Asymmetric, and I believe a few rappers had done a bit of investigations on this gentleman, and he wasn't found to be truthful. And a lot of people disassociated themselves with him. This man was not exactly flush with cash at the time of Ashlee's death. This man was living a lie, but in order for the lie to continue and for Ashlee to win, she had to live that lie as well. So therefore, if she had to finance a trip, or if she had to finance a different lifestyle, or if she had to be, had to fund that different lifestyle in order to get ahead, in order to show that she was indeed living some sort of truth, some sort of, fallacy, so be it. As long as it kept up appearances and that she could, show, illusory, uh, well, show of any sort of affluence or any sort of, um, well, affluence, and just she's living beyond her means. She's living above and beyond her means in order to keep up appearances, because she thought that she was above it and she deserves it, and so she found White Zaddy, and therefore buys into her narrative that black men ain't shit and this sort of thing, and again, unfortunately, that was the case. But it's unfortunate that we are in this predicament in the first place. But again, it was through her own choices. Let's continue.
respond also to the comments by saying this.
And then number two, there's people, right? Not a lot, but I was seeing it because I know y'all in my views, right? There's people that's like, oh well, why are you at the gym? Why are you cooking? Why are you posting food on your page? Stop watching my page. Please get my out of your mouth. I already. There's no need for you to keep sucking it, baby. I already.
Okay, well, here's a problem with this sort of narrative, is the fact that her breasts are showing, her midriff showing. She's trying to sell sex without really selling sex. So you know what I mean. So for her to say that, oh no, she's trying to gain attention without giving attention, without giving attention. To, oh, stay off my page. Oh, stay off my this and my that. But yet I have my titties out. So it's like a sort of a double-edged sword, if you know what I mean. Yes, watch me, but don't watch me, if you know what. It's quite silly, really, and well, if that's all you have to sell, my dear, well, we know where this will end. Let's continue.
Stop sucking my fucking. Stop doing that. How about that? Stop sucking my pussy. Explaining to y'all, dumbass, nothing ass. Why the I'm in the gym still? I'm always in the gym. I've been in the gym. Gym is therapy. Why do I even have to explain myself? And as far as cooking, eat. You slow, stupid, dumb.
And so let me just say this, as a younger lady, to respond in the way that she is, and then Ashlee is your friend, it makes sense why y'all most likely were friends. Because, I mean, you like a BBL kind of model or whatever. And so I'm not saying that she was, but she's a pretty lady. So the way that you behave is all linked to your opportunities. Okay. There is no reason for you to respond in the way that you're responding, even though you're tired of people responding in that way, because your focus should still be more or less on your friend, and what people have to say about how she lived shouldn't matter because you know her. But again, these are the women out there that are getting their BBLs done, they're getting their bodies done, and then they don't have any real value for these men, and then they get with these men that don't have any real value because they're out there scheming and scamming, and then you just want somebody with the bag, and then you put yourself in a precarious situation because you don't change yourself. And I would argue that Ashlee Jenae wanted a soft life. Ashlee Jenae was not a person that I would say, or I would believe, that was so innovative, that was hardworking like people want to make her out to believe. Because if she was so hardworking, like what did she give to the industry? It probably wasn't much. She wasn't a content creator. I mean, I don't know what she was doing in Miami besides just being beautiful. So I don't know what she was bringing to the game. And the attitude that she had is it's not competitive for her to get one of these rappers. She couldn't get the black man of her choice. I mean, we saw she was hanging out with Kevin Gates, but she was never good enough to stay there. So let's go ahead and get this older white guy who has this hedge fund. And again, he don't even want to say nothing about what's going on because he's suspicious. I mean, a person that just don't care nothing about you, and you end up in this situation. Well, why? Because ultimately we attract the people in our lives. Our attitude does, okay? The less value we have for people, the less value that we get. You cannot deduce value for the fact that somebody is willing to give you some money in exchange for how you look, okay? That means, what do you produce? So you produce X, Y, and Z, so you should get those kind of people. Ashlee Jenae couldn't get no Drake. She was in Drake's video. He didn't want her. She couldn't even get Kevin Gates. Kevin Gates is not even doing well. Like, none of the guys that she was with that could give her the lifestyle didn't think that she was good enough for that, okay? So again, she gets with this guy that is might be desperate, might be crazy. This happens. And ultimately, that could be because of the lack of value that she might or may not have added. It goes to say that. But for the friend to come out and say these things, I get that she's trying to protect her friend. I get that you love her, but you're really not helping. You're really not. Nobody is going to stop doing whatever they're doing because you said so. It's just not going to happen. So guys, what do you think?
And great summation there. Let's just bring it back to her. It seems that birds of a feather indeed flock together, ladies and gentlemen. And Ashlee Jenae, if this is her friend, her best friend, we can tell what her overall goal was. When that is, I mean, these girls have not much talent. All they have is their bodies, if that, and all they can do is sell it to a certain level. And if that doesn't work, then they're in a whole heap of trouble. So for her to have this nasty attitude, of course, she's from a tough town. She's from Philly. Philly's not easy. Philly's a tough town full of tough women. And I can understand where she gets that attitude from. I can understand. Listen, if it wasn't for Ashlee Jenae, I wouldn't know who this person is, nor anyone else for that matter. And her goal is simple: to try to separate a man and his funds, to try to separate a high value man and his money. That's her goal, because she has clearly nothing else better to do, or no talents or skills necessary in order for her to raise herself up. She is a soft life candidate, point blank, period. And her friend Ashlee Jenae found a way out, found a way to, well, obtain a white zaddy, but unfortunately, said white zaddy wasn't worth much, if anything at all. And with her, unfortunately, Ashlee Jenae, a pretty girl as she was, she wasn't talented enough to get with a rapper, to get with an athlete. She tried. That failed, so she got an older white gentleman in order to try to back her play, in order for her to dunk on black men. Unfortunately, that didn't go to a great extent, and her unaliving, unfortunate unaliving, untimely unaliving could be due to foul play, could be due to suicide, but uh, it was always not going to be uh, how she wanted life to be, unfortunately. We wish that she was still here. We wish that she didn't have to go down this dangerous route, but here we are. But thank you very much, O'Shea Duke Jackson, doing wonderful things on YouTube streets. Please like and subscribe to O'Shea Duke Jackson here. Let's just bring it back to full camera. Let's end this here like this. Ashlee Jenae has a job. She has Ashlee Jenae had a job, unfortunately. Ashlee Jenae's parents have a job, and that is to bring closure to their daughter's death. And that means going out there, getting the best coroner, getting the best autopsy they could find via GoFundMe or through other charitable donations, in order to bring closure to their daughter's untimely demise. No one should, in starting out her life at 31, be susceptible to the hands of foul play. And it is hoped that the parents can come forward and do what's necessary to bring full closure to Ashlee Jenae, especially after, again, Tanzanian authorities do not want anything to do with this in terms of foul play, because that will ruin their tourist industry. So it's up to the parents, up to celebrities such as Joe Budden, such as Cardi B, such as DJ Academics, to see if they can get involved with things, but at least get a GoFundMe together so that proper closure can be brought to the likes of Ashlee Jenae. And if it can be found, some sort of answers to Joe McCann's involvement in these whole proceedings, because that is nefarious at best. But we pray for the soul of Ashlee Jenae. It's an untimely demise, but it's hopeful that we put a lot of non-facts and innuendo out there to bed. But again, let me say this: Ashlee Jenae was no angel, but she is with the angels now. We pray for the repose of her soul, and it is hoped that her family receives justice for all. Thank you very much for joining me here on Talk Live for this special on Ashlee Jenae. We're going to be back tomorrow night with another show, and we look forward to seeing you then. So we're going to say goodnight from Instagram. Oh, there we go. And we're going to say goodnight here from YouTube. Thank you very much for joining me here tonight. Thank you to Vladdy Zoo. Thank you to Chanel. Thank you for Steve Tees and many others for joining me here tonight, including Just Think 2000. And we'll be back with another show tomorrow. Probably we're going to go into the further developments on Anton Daniels and Corey Holcomb. Those guys keep on rolling. But stay with us here on Talk Live, and look forward to seeing you very, very soon.